Now let's begin with the third section of our lecture, and in this section we will talk about the diagnosis of the tetanus. The test which we will discuss in this section will be the culture testing and then polymerase chain reaction, serum anti-tetanus immunoglobulin G, and also some conditions which are related to the tetanus and comes in the differential diagnosis of the tetanus. The diagnosis of the tetanus based on clinical findings. Usually the clinical findings are very, very clear and they are significant, and this gives the idea that the patient might have tetanus along with the history. Any history, recent history of fall in the dirty area, in the dust, mud, any injury with the nails which are dirty, and any contamination, and if there is any history in females of abortion, miscarriages, that gives the idea that patient might have tetanus. So clinical findings are important in the diagnosis of the tetanus. Treatment should not be delayed while lab tests are conducted. So the treatment should be initiated immediately, should not wait if there is a clear picture along with the history of injury or fall, that there is hypertonia of the muscle, there is muscle spasm, there is characteristic rigidity of the body. That means that patient might have tetanus, so we should immediately start the treatment. Culture of clostridium tetani from a wound provides supportive evidence. So later on we can wait. Culture usually takes 48 to 72 hours for the result to come. So it's not very smart to wait for that 48 to 72 hours. The important thing is that the treatment should be initiated immediately while the specimen is sent for the culture, and once the result comes, we are more specific about the cause of the condition. So it's very important that we should start the treatment immediately. Serum anti-tetanus immunoglobulin G, that's it's against the tetanus, is the immunization. So measured in a sample taken before administration of antitoxin or immunoglobulin. So serum anti-tetanus immunoglobulin G level should be measured in the serum before we give the dose of antitoxin or immunoglobulin. Serum levels which are more than 0.1 international unit per ml are deemed protective, do not support diagnosis of tetanus. So we should measure the level of serum immunoglobulin, anti-tetanus immunoglobulin, before initiating the immunization or before giving the antitoxin or immunoglobulin. If levels are below this level, which we mentioned are about 0.5, more than 0.1 international per unit per ml, if the levels are lower than that, then their cardiovascular bioassay should be done for serum tetanus. Negative result does not exclude the diagnosis. So we should look for the level of antitoxin immunoglobulin G. If it's less than 0.1, then we should go for cardiovascular bioassay for serum tetanus, and the negative result does not exclude the diagnosis of the tetanus. Polymerase chain reaction. It is used for the detection of tetanus toxin. Sensitivity of polymerase chain reaction in the diagnosis of tetanus is not specific or is unknown. Conditions, some differential diagnoses that mimic the generalized tetanus. We have strychnine poisoning and the dystonic reaction to anti-dopaminergic drugs. So these are the two conditions which very, very closely mimic the tetanus. Strychnine poisoning caused the muscle spasm. The clinical picture is the same as the tetanus, and then there is also dystonic or abnormality of the muscle tone as a result of the anti-dopaminergic drugs which are used against the dopamine, and they cause the stiffness and spasm and rigidity of the body also. Again, some other differential diagnoses, we have abdominal muscle rigidity, characteristically continuous in tetanus. Cephalic tetanus confused with other causes of trismus such as oropharyngeal infection. So again, there is the important thing we found out in this section, very important, is the clinical picture of the patient. If there is also associated history of fall and injury, and in the part of the world where it is common, in the third world countries, it's important that we should go for the treatment right away. We should not wait for the culture result to come, and once the culture result comes, we can, it's more specific that patient might have tetanus, but we should not wait for that time. We should start the treatment right away. And then there are some conditions like strychnine poisoning and the reaction to anti-dopaminergic drugs, which can mimic the condition which is known as the tetanus. And then before starting giving the antitoxin immunoglobulin, it's better to measure the level of serum immunoglobulin, and if its level is more than 0.1 international unit per ml, that is deemed protective. And if there are no levels, then it doesn't tells us that there is no tetanus. And polymerase chain reaction, again, its sensitivity is not very clear and sensitivity is unknown. Hypocalcemia and meningoencephalitis in differential diagnosis of neonatal tetanus. So these are all the differential diagnostic conditions. Hypocalcemia, low calcium level, is associated with tetani. Tetani is again the rigidity of the body, and once the calcium level is normal, calcium injection stat is given, and that can bring the patient back to the normal, muscle tone comes back to the normal. So hypocalcemia and meningoencephalitis, which is inflammation of the meninges and the brain, is also common in the differential diagnosis, because both these conditions can cause spasm and the rigidity. Meningitis, we talked about that in detail, also cause rigidity, spasm, neck stiffness, all that can be, it can mimic the tetanus. So that concludes section 3. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.